Earlier in the year, the Nigerian Football Federation and the Moroccan Football Federation had a partnership deal to develop youth footballers from the under 13 and the under 15 categories. Also, to give coaches better technical support to improve on youth development for both countries, to have a synergy in terms of youth football development from both sides. The man that took the Nigerian team to Morocco for the friendly matches, two friendly matches they played, the vice president of the Nigerian Football Federation and chairman of the Lagos Football Association, Seyi Akinwunmi, is in the studio. He's going to tell us how the Nigerian team performed, their experience and what they've gained, and talk about the partnership with Morocco, how it can help youth football development in the country. This is Sports World Live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm George Gift. You're in for a splendid, fantastic time of the very best in sports. Sports World takes a short break. We'll be back after this time out. Don't go away. Hello and a warm welcome to Sports World, reaching you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm George Gift. Joining me in the studio is the Vice President of the Nigerian Football Federation and also the Chairman of the Lagos State Football Association. He led the Nigerian team, the Nigerian delegation to Morocco for two friendly matches and in terms of developing our youth footballers for the future. They call them the Future Eagles. This is where the future begins for them after the Nigerian Football Federation and the Moroccan Football Federation had the partnership for technical support and for coaching assistance. Both sides will gain to develop their teams. Seyi Akinwunmi, great to have you on Sports World today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, talk about the experience. Talk about, or first of all, talk about the partnership that the Nigerian Football Federation signed or agreed with the Moroccan Football Federation. What it's all about, and educate football pundits and football followers in this country. What we tend to gain from that partnership.
Well, essentially, see, what has happened in Morocco in the recent past has been a whole overhaul of the system. A whole lot of money is being pumped into football, as a sector by the government. The building probably will become the best football center, at least this side of the world, and probably one of the best in the world. They've done such a lot in a few years because the government has decided, look, you know what, we're going to pump money into football. They have 900 and something stadia and training centers. They have first-class hotels for their Super Eagles, for the equivalent of their Super Eagles. Okay. They have even the same thing for the junior teams. So what we decided is, look, if they're doing all of this and they're getting the best people to come in to their country to come and train them and show them the way, why don't we tap into our friendship with them and ride on their back to also learn this in a roundabout way. So we agreed, the president of both federations spoke, and they agreed, they're both on the board of the CAF Executive Committee, and they agreed that, look, why don't we work something out? And overnight, the president asked me and said, look, Seyi, can you draw up a draft agreement here and now so at least they commit themselves? And so we did that and then went into a more robust agreement, which entails us going over there, playing friendly games like we just did, learning, showing us various things that they've done. They have also data collection systems and all of that. And also coming here and taking advantage of the robustness of our teams. They were extremely surprised to see our other 15s and the heart and the fight that they had in them. So that's what they want to learn. They don't have the skills that we have. They have probably a better organization all around. So, it's a mutually beneficial agreement. And I think that in the next few years, we will learn a lot more from them that we can implement as we go along.
Okay, were there any opportunities for like a campaign, like a program, a systematic program in terms of the training, clinic, workshop, seminars when you went there? What did it entail?
No, we didn't have that much time this time.
Okay.
Because the players got there on Sunday, I got there the next day. And we had match on Wednesday and another one on Thursday, and we left on Thursday night. So it was just to fill the waters, to ensure that the youth that we had groomed since last year had an opportunity to get international experience. Some of them have never gone on in a lift, talk less of flying a plane. So, the exposure that they had is immense, and some of these players will in the future play for Nigeria, I'm sure. So we thought, let's just really take advantage of that. There was a short window. But be sure that there'll be clinics, there'll be longer campaign and all of that. So, indeed, the boys behaved so well that they're, willing for them to come back as another day to come and spend more time with the under 15 and fuse their thinking. So That's a plus to those young lads.
Okay, talk about the process which you got those players. I know on the 13, on the 15 feature Eagles.
Yeah.
You talked about what you are doing for the state or what the state associations are doing in terms of getting those players. You're one person that proposes that instead of having a big, massive trial screening when it comes to the 17, go scout at these major youth competitions, give all those players a chance, know the particular ones you need to groom and select. What is it that Nigeria did in terms of getting those players on the 13, on the 15 that was kind of in a synergy with what the Moroccan Football Federation is doing?
Yes, in fact, when we explained our own process to them, they were really excited.
Oh, great.
And they couldn't believe that, we'd gone that route because most African countries don't. What we've done in Nigeria over the years has been hit and miss. We call 5,000 kids to an Abuja camp and expect to choose 60. It's practically impossible. We've been lucky because we have lots of very good players. But do we have the best? Not quite sure. Do we have the best temperament in terms of the players who can grow to the Super Eagles? Because it's not. People always say, look, the reason why they don't grow is over age.
Okay.
No, it's not just that. If that at all, I don't know. But it's because we don't have a system where we choose the best players, not just in terms of their play, but in terms of their attitude and resilience to succeed. So we thought, look, let's scrap all of that and chart a new way. So we developed a youth development policy document, and that's what we're following. So every single state FA has its own program. We provide funds for them. They provide a program of under 13 and under 15, and then that dovetails into the best players in each zone from the states within the zone,
Great.
having the best 30, I think it is, and then we put all of them together. Last year we had them in Ijebu-Ode, or in Shagamu, I think, yes. And all the zones' best players, under 13 and 15, come to play. And it's always very exciting. From what I've seen, I've gone around states as well. And then we choose the best 40 who are called to camp.
I mean, you saw the process, how those players got to the top level. What's the foundation you're laying? How does it affect future youth football development, this partnership with Morocco? How can states key into this? How can the Football Federation make this more viable, make this a great future? Because we have highlights of on the 17, how we won it in 2013, and in 2015 also, we could see that the development, the process was really, really there. And you saw the likes of Vitor Osimhen become a great star.
Yep.
So, looking at the future of those players, what's the foundation you're actually laying?
Well, I think to be fair to the previous board, they wanted to go that route of getting the grooming from under 13 and so on and so forth. But the system, I think, was faulty, and that's what we tried to correct. Following the idea that the board had, we had tried to put a system in place. And it's not just about the Moroccan partnership.
Okay.
It's about, because we had the policy in place and launched it even before we had any partnership with Morocco. The issue really is, let us get these kids, one, exposed to competition, to make new friends, to develop social skills, where they have the opportunity to test their wits and their battle against people from different parts of the country and other countries. Let's allow that. And then let's put them in camp where we can teach them, exposure to good values. We go in there and talk to them. So if we do all of that simultaneously, we will have robust, technically efficient young kids, but we also have good children. And that's what we want to do. At the national level, it's a bit difficult to enforce the issue of education.
Okay,
so
it's very key.
Yes,
very
it's
key.
extremely key.
I think that's one thing you're really doing right in Lagos in terms of the eco-football
yes,
system.
That's right. So we need to influence the states to imbibe that, because it's easier done at the states. But we find that in Nigeria, when there's a prize, then people are willing to follow through. So the prize now is to get your kids from your zone into the under 15 who's traveling, for example, to Morocco. And everybody said, well, if you want that, then you must do it well.
Okay.
So we hope that over the next few years, people will start to do it well so that they can get on this kind of trips or this kind of opportunities that arise, and also ultimately get into the under 17.
Okay, still to come on the program on Sports World, we give you highlights from the FIFA Under 17 World Cup in 2013. We have the highlights from 2013 and 2015. Of course, those some players graduated from the young age to represent Nigeria on the 17 level and won the competition in United Arab Emirates. The likes of Kelechi Iheanacho was actually unveiled at the top class at the international level, and this is what the Nigerian Football Federation is doing to make it consistent that we get players that keep developing to the under 17 category. When we come back, we're going to ask Seyi Akinwunmi about academies, what roles they have to play in terms of youth football development, and how they can partner with the Nigerian Football Federation, help them from the tender age. And we're still talking with the Vice President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Seyi Akinwunmi, still in the studio. You saw that 2013. I mean, how do you feel about the performance of that set of players, and what you're doing now to still replicate that in the future?
You know, I was at that stadium. I mean, I wasn't in the NFF then, but I was at that stadium, and you know, just watching it, the nostalgia I feel is immense. Those guys played their hearts out, and they displayed the Nigerian spirit, the skill, the strength, and determination that Nigerians have. So we're quite. It's an inspiration for the ones who are younger to emulate that. And it's an inspiration for us to achieve that as well. Luckily, this board has achieved it, but it goes beyond winning. We need to create a system where we can churn out those sort of teams, those sort of players, those sort of characters, winners over the years. We don't want to succeed one year and then not qualify the next.
Yeah.
We also want to build as many of them to get to the top in football. So it's a good platform to start from, and we're working hard to develop on it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you before the highlights, the process, the synergy with the academies, the roles the academies play, because the agents, the owners of those academies, they're all about business. They're all about sending those players, get club size in Europe. But those players need to still focus, get the development right, because sometimes when they go to Europe so early, sometimes they just fizzle out. You were saying that there's some of those players that we don't really see again.
Yep.
So how can the Nigerian Football Federation, to a large extent, regulate those academies? I mean, these players play for the academies, but they play for the national team side to get the best out of those players for the future.
You see, we need to educate. The first thing is, you see all these players that we see in the academies, who sees them? You know, the reason why people see them and notice them is because they play for the national team at that young age. So when the academies come and keep on saying that, you know, ads are players and therefore they do what they like with them, it cannot be correct because they're underage. Secondly, we ourselves will acknowledge that the academies work very hard, scouting around, looking for the best players in nooks and crannies of their society to put them together. So there has to be a synergy. And there has to be a synergy under a properly regulated system. But because we have 1,001 academies in every square meter, every square 1,000 meters, it's extremely difficult to regulate. So we want to do the converse. We will have academy competitions.
Okay.
And for you to qualify for that academic competition, you must have a minimum standard that you're maintaining. So you register and show that you have that minimum standard. And we're looking at sponsorship for it so that we can get proper prize. Like I said, Nigerians like prizes. So for you to get that prize, you need to play in tournaments and win it. And when for you to play in tournaments and win it, you have to have minimum standards. So I think as we go along, the more we play that competition, the wider the spread of the academies who would meet the standards, and then automatically would roll. That's what we've tried to do in Lagos State, for example, and it's worked. So I don't see why it can't work in Nigeria. Okay,
back to the partnership or synergy with the Moroccan Football Federation in terms of coaching, because like you were trying to correct some coaches, youth coaches in Nigeria. Don't overload those players. The right process, the right training system, the right training regiment for their ages. You don't train under 17 like the way you train under 13. The physical fitness, the way you talk to the players, the synergy, the relationship with the Moroccan Football Federation. Now, what are you going to do in terms of the coaching patterns, the coaching systems, in terms of for both sides, for both countries to benefit from this partnership?
Let me give you an example. When we went to Morocco to play, we took some coaches, and those coaches were chosen based on the fact that they had been involved in youth development for a long time.
Oh, great.
Now, when they got there, the knowledge that they acquired is immense. First of all, we had 3 coaches there with a goalkeeper trainer. They had about 9 of them, and each of those coaches had a specific function. And the coaches in there who had been training children for 25 years. We had the technical director specifically for youth development, who was also there. We had the national team psychologist, who was also there. And I made sure that the coaches interacted with them and tapped their brains, and they were astonished at how much detail was placed on the team, the process, and the individuals. Beyond that, we later found out that the various guys who were sitting with us and across the pitch were actually scouts. The national team, National Federation scouts